Mr. Babis is trying to set up a minority cabinet of his Anya protest movement with the Social Democrats, CSSD, which would be dependent on a communist vote. Cracks are appearing in the EU as the Visegrad Four, comprising of EU states including Czech Republic, Hungary, Slovakia and Poland, say they wish to move in the opposite direction of Emmanuel Macron's France. Mr. Babis argues the European Commission should not shape politics of individual countries but that member states should be given more independence to govern themselves. Mr. Babis warned Brussels to stay out of politics and also raised concerns about the EU's plans to bring in a transnational MEP voting, post-Brexit. Concerns were sparked as pan-European lists would increase the number of German MEPs, at a time when EU's biggest member state has already been accused of having too much sway over the bloc. The Visegrad Group argues this proposal will pry control from the member states, echoing the very notions behind Britain's reasons for leaving the European bloc. Speaking on ORF Radio's Morning Journal program, Mr. Babis said, "We need no further integration." Before further rejecting a two-speed EU, he told the morning radio show that he was not satisfied with the proportional system in the Czech Republic because it had many disadvantages. Mr. Babis warned the process of measuring which countries should belong to which European parliamentary group is problematic, citing Czech Republic's low unemployment and high economic growth. If Prime Minister Andrej Babis does not want the EU to move any closer to his country, he argued countries that were favored in the Eurozone would be considered the best, in a blow to Germany and France's hopes for a two-speed Europe. Describing his position on the EU, he commented, "We are very pro-European, but also very critical." Acknowledging the EU has brought peace for over 70 years, Mr. Babis said, "I'm not skeptical. The EU is a super project," emphasizing that on some issues, such as Brexit, or the US terminating the Iran nuclear deal, there was solidarity in the EU, but he pointed out that the Republic, together with the other Visegrad states, had spoken out against the obligatory distribution quotas for refugees in the EU for a number of years. He said, regarding the refugee and immigration issue, other countries that have a very different history need to understand our position, but there are politicians in Europe who understand us. Mr. Babis also said that it would be easier with a system like the ones in France or the US, where the election winner takes over government affairs solely. His comments come as Italy's new coalition threatens to shake up Brussels too. The country is poised to defy the EU with plans to deport 500,000 illegal immigrants. Yet the Visegrad Four are fighting to take back control of their borders from within the EU. Italian President Sergio Mattarella is expected to approve the formation of a government following the successful conclusion of negotiations between the anti-establishment Five Star Movement, led by Luigi Di Maio, and Matteo Salvini's Lega Party. In addition, the coalition's manifesto also calls for the renegotiation of various EU treaties, including the Stability and Growth Pact, which sets a tough budget deficit limit of 3% of GDP. They are also seeking the cancellation of €250 billion in Italian government debt by the European Central Bank, and a revision of Italy's contribution to the EU budget. Additional reporting by Monica Pallenberg.